Today in art we're going to finish our winter birch tree landscape project. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually practice creating birch tree lines. So at your table there will be examples of birch tree line patterns. This is a practice sheet you will be given with a pencil, or actually with a Sharpie. What you're going to practice doing is simply creating the birch lines. So when I observe and notice the shapes, they start at the edges. And you're going to go practice going down from edge to edge, noticing where you want it, where you want the black. Some are in triangular shapes, some are a bit more rounded. You can see the different line patterns and shape patterns that you can create. So you're going to practice on both of these sheets, working very carefully to create accurate and lines that look similar to a birch tree. After you have practiced this and you're happy with the way that your birch lines look, you're going to move this paper off to the side, and then you're going to work on your final paper. With the final paper, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the tape. When you remove the tape, you need to roll it and do it very, very, very slowly. If you do one clean rip, there's a good chance it'll rip extra parts of the paper that you don't want to be ripped. So you're going to rip. If a little bit of it comes off, that's okay. What it simply does is it sort of gives texture onto your tree, because birch trees do have texture, so you're not going to worry too much about any little rips. It really just adds to the effect of your project. After you have removed all 3 pieces of tape, you can see that this one is pulling a little more of the paper. If it starts to pull a lot, just go ahead and stop and call me over so we can make sure that we rip slow enough so that it doesn't rip a hole through the back of your paper. After you have removed all 3 pieces of tape, you are going to then go ahead and create your shadows. Now, when you create the shadows in the snow, remember this is our snowbank. When you create the shadows in the snow, you have to think of where your light source is. If my light, my sun is up here, then everything is going to be going down in this direction. The shadows from the tree will be going here. If my light source is in the right corner, then all of my shadows will be going this way. My snowbank is going in this direction, so I'm going to imagine that my light source is here and I'm working down in that direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm very, very lightly with my pencil, I'm going to create a line from this edge down to the bottom. All of my other lines will follow the exact same parallel motion. So I can't make a line that goes like this, and I can't make one that goes like this. It's going to follow and run parallel to this line. There's one shadow of a tree. Same thing here. This line needs to run parallel with this line. Here's my second shadow. This line runs parallel, goes off the page. There's my third shadow. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint these. So the way that I'm going to paint these is I'm going to take a brush, and I have some black paint wash. Now you don't want to dip into the bottom of the paint wash because then it'll make your shadow black. We want the shadows to be a light gray, so you're just going to dip in the top, the watery part, and you're simply going to paint down to the edge of the page, in between the line patterns that you had created. These are creating shadows and adding more dimension and realism to your artwork. Once you have done that, then the final stage is you're going to go in and add your birch lines. So you're going to take your Sharpie, and starting at the top, you're going to go in and apply what you practice. You're going to want to work real slow when you do this, not to go beyond the edge. Do your best. And continue working down. Now it doesn't have to be a perfectly organized pattern. You may run a few on this side, and then you may make a gap and then have a few going down here, because when you look at the winter birch trees, it is not a perfect pattern. Okay? Then the last step will be to autograph your work, putting your name in the bottom corner neatly and small, and then you'll bring it over to the drying rack to dry.